We all experience that as we approach the deadline for an important exam or an important project, our working performance increases like crazy. The reason behind this is making our brain to focus and finish a task in a small amount of time. Since the remaining time is limited, every minute is valuable and we don't focus on unnecessary details. This effect is described by Parkinson in 1955. Parkinson said that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion, meaning that the time we give for a job is determined by the time itself. In other words, if we give 1 year for a job, the job will be a 1-year job. If we give 1 month to a job, the job will be a 1-month job. This principle earned a reputation in the name of Parkinson's law and used in several sectors such as the supply-demand relationship of finance, the data-memory relationship of informatics, etc. To understand the logic of the law and use it for time management, we have to understand how the brain reacts to the law. For example, there is a job that we can finish in 2 months, but if we have 1 year, we are extended to a year. Why is that? Two factors affect the brain in this situation. Let's start with the first one. If we have a long time, our brain doesn't want to give attention to the job because of protection. So what is the danger and why does it protect? The answer is, even if we are doing a job that we love, feeling of responsibility creates stress and sometimes fear. We all experienced our brain thinking, I should have been working right now, while having fun. Or, I have to finish this job in the most awkward times. Responsibility makes us feel guilty when we don't work for the job. As a result, the job's responsibility increases stress and fear. So our brain perceives the job as a danger. And to protect us from emotional danger, we feel a psychological obstacle against working for the job. If we don't resist or convince ourselves, it will lead us to stress-free things and we procrastinate. On the other side, if we have a small amount of time for an important job, as we approach the deadline, we know that, in case we don't finish, there will be much bigger stress and fear. So again, for protection reasons, we tend to work and we focus to finish it. So if we zoom out, we can see that when we are away from the deadline, stress and fear restrain us from work. And when we are close to the deadline, again, stress and fear encourage us to work. Now let's move to the second factor. The second and last factor is our desire to finish easy jobs, which is a common emotional mistake. We all feel relieved when we finish a task, because we throw away its responsibility. That is why, if we have an easy 1 hour but unimportant job and an important but long-term job, we want to start with an easy and short one. We want to finish it and relieve right away. But the right thing to do is, when we are vigorous like we are in the mornings, we have to spend our productive hours on important jobs. And when we are tired, we have to do unimportant and easy jobs. But mostly, since we can't see the finish line for a long-term job, we just want to finish an easy job and put a check mark on it. And that causes procrastination for long-term jobs. Alright, that's all we need to learn from theoretical information. Let's put them into practice. We will use an easy method to solve these problems. We will break long-term jobs to pieces, and we will give deadlines for every one of them. For example, we will split a 1-year job to 12 different pieces of jobs, and every month we will finish one job. As a result, we will always have a close deadline, and it will be easier to work for smaller jobs. Step by step, we will reach the big goal. Additionally, to increase our will to work, we will have a deterrent penalty. If we can't finish the job in time, we will fulfill the determined penalty. Fear will lead us to work. Lastly, we will give our productive hours, like mornings, to important jobs, and so we will work more productive. So that's our solution to the problems. We will have an example in the next lesson with a real-life experiment, and it will make us understand the topic better. So we learn 2 factors that make us procrastinate long-term jobs, and we understand the reason behind Parkinson's law. We didn't want to teach it like, give the job a small amount of time and work harder and harder. Instead, we wanted to give you scientific reasons and teach the logic behind our solution. By learning the logic, it will be much harder to forget, and you can interpret it to different situations. Most of us have different types of jobs and different working styles. So, in some situations, we have to practice techniques with modifications. Now let's move to the practice lesson and see performing the law in some common situations. After that, with the help of the draft, it will be your turn to perform.